Good morning. Dad is needing this running. Couldn't get it going yesterday, so I'll give that a whirl. Missing a chainsaw glove. Got one, a left hand. This bit of shrubbery's to come out. Dad's been plotting a hedge all along this edge, but we need to chop this bit out so we can plant the rest, which is lying right there. There we go. Gotta get the rest of that planted. I believe the missing glove is at my brother's. I'll show you why I was fishing out new stones the other day. We used to get quite a lot of people drive across this grass, so I plonked the stone in there. That solved the problem. Now they go around it. So I need to dump another stone. That winds me up no end. People driving on the grass. Kev's still chopping away. He's got the roller down, cutting the verge. Unfortunately, I'm stuck behind him. I need to get all feeders and all bedding done today so that it'll hopefully last till I'm back and Dad doesn't need to bother with feeders and bedding. Do not drop bales on the combine. Do not drop bales on the combine. It didn't hit the combine, but we dropped it anyway. Tell you what, that looks fantastic. Oh, that locks in place actually. Nice. As you can see, most of the gates are hung here. I'm currently away, but I have a factory tour of the Pari to show you. It's really good. Have a watch now, where you see parts of this being built. The tour is by Corbin Blampede. I think that's how you say the second name, Blampede. Anyway, the family that owns the company. They've been manufacturing cattle crushers for over 40 years now. Anyway, you see all about it and how it's made. I love a factory tour in this video coming.
Thanks Crawford, and welcome everyone to a quick wee walkthrough video of our factory here in Oamaru, New Zealand. So at the front we've got our office and admin block, and then the warehouse. Now this is our manufacturing building. We're going to jump right to the back of it where the process starts. So right at the back we have our steel storage. Now because we use all Australian made steel, it comes in by the container load and is held here before it starts the production line. So from there it gets brought into the factory where it comes into the cutting bay. Now we've got a couple of bandsaws as well as 3 laser cutters. Now this is our first tube laser. It's currently cutting some 50x50 box section, which then gets used on the cattle crush. This here is the second laser cutting machine. It's what we call the flatbed, as it only cuts sheet metal. It's currently cutting out the base of a racewell sheet handler. However, it does cut the floor, the slam latches, locking tabs and other parts on the cattle crush, which a lot of them then get folded afterwards. We'll point them out once we get to the cattle crush assembly. Now this here is our CNC lathe, which cuts all our stainless components for the race wells and the cattle crushers. You can't see through the window currently, sorry. However, I've got a few parts here I can show you. One we will pick up again later in the video is the step bolt used on a cattle crush head bale. But like the laser cutters and the other automated machinery we've got, the benefit is just how consistent the quality is that you get from it. Now here is the brake press that's currently folding the braces for the steel floor. Now you can see on this trolley some of the components after they've been cut. For example, the slam latches on the crush. You've also got the rear handle for the head bale control. This is the brace that holds the rubber floor down, and if you take a look at this one, this is obviously box section now. You can see the drop pin on the cattle crush frame. Then it's into the robot welders. We've got over a dozen robot welders on site, and if you take a look over here, you can see one of the gate panels being welded. And the benefit is just how accurate the welds are. You often see Crawford doing a bit of welding, but this is miles ahead. Now all steel components get fully hot dip galvanised after fabrication. So the process of this is that they get loaded into these boxes where it gets taken up to the galvanising plant and gets dipped before coming back to the factory. Now after the galvanising process, everything gets brought back into the yard and gets hung on the trolleys. This means you've got all the components of a crush in one spot that can then be brought in with the order for assembly. So now in crush assembly, everything gets brought in, all the components that are hung on the trolleys get taken off and start being assembled. Now all the parts that are needed for the crush come in on the small trolleys, so the assemblers have everything they need right where they're working. And then after the crush is fully assembled, it gets brought around and gets its final testing. So this means everything gets fully checked and operated before it leaves the factory. Something else to point out is the steel section of the crush. So this is what we call the C section of steel. Now it gets laser cut and then folded, and then on top of that, so this is out of sight, on top of that you've got the rubber floor, so you can see how thick that floor section is there. And then like we pointed out earlier, the metal braces that get laser cut and again folded is what sit on top. So this is these here. So then once that's all put together, this is how it ends up looking in the crush. So it's obviously the sections are bolted together, then they've got the brace on top with the rubber that holds it all together, and then it's bolted to the chassis of the crush. A few of the other parts we pointed out earlier in the video are things such as the stainless step bolts, which you can now see being used in the head bale here, other stainless bolts there, and the slam latches which you saw after they were being pressed. Now once everything's been assembled, it gets brought outside into the yard where it gets packaged up for shipping. So if you got load bars, dosing guns or scales that might be going with it, they all get put together. On the other side we've also got a second and larger yard where all export orders are packed, so that's where Crawford's crush would have gone. So I hope that gives you a bit of an idea as to the production line we've got here in Oamaru. So obviously it is all New Zealand made and again using Australian steel. If you're keen to learn more about the company, reach out to our team. Otherwise for now, we'll look forward to seeing it in action on Crawfords Farm. Cheers.